Hello, hello, my dearies, and welcome back to my Game of Thrones Mondays. So, episode 3, Walk of Punishment. Holy crap, a lot of stuff happened. Like, there's no way, first of all, that I'm going to be able to cover everything in a 15-minute time frame, so I'm sorry if I leave anything out that you deem important. Really, I am, but I'm going to have to cut a few things, and it is a little bright again today, so sorry about this weird lighting glowy hand thing. We start out with us looking at the water, and then we come up to the boat drifting by, and it's Catelyn's father. They're having the funeral for him, and then there's this guy who's supposed to light it on fire, as they do, and he misses 3 times. It is just really embarrassing, and then some other dude, I forget his name, steps in and is just like, get out of my way, and he tells that boat lights on fire, funeral, there you go. So then we flip to Rob, and he's talking about the stone mill with some other dudes, and basically they're talking about the Lannisters, and then this other dude who's supposed to be on their side, I guess he like took the stone mill when he should have gone and done something else, and then he ended up losing 208 men, so I guess that's what happened at Harrenhal, basically. I guess that's what we're finally finding out. And then we skip right to Tywin. So this funny little meeting has been set up, and where no one speaks at first, everyone's walking in. We have Littlefinger, we have the freaking eunuch guy, and the older priest dude, and we have freaking Tyrion walks in. Of course, Tyrion's like, okay, what the fuck is happening? Why are we all here? And then Cersei's walks in, and they have the awkward Cersei goes and sits by her father, and Tyrion, in Tyrion style, drags the chair noisily to the other end of the table, and I love Tyrion. So basically then Tywin's like, okay guys, you have the best spies in the kingdom, like you all have spies everywhere, and you don't know where Jaime is, and he's pissed off that none of them know. None of them literally have a clue where Jaime is, which is kind of awesome. And then Tywin makes Tyrion the new master of coins. And then of course Tyrion's just like, what? You're making me the master of coins, the one who is the master at spending coin? Then we skip to some singing soldiers going through the woods here, and then we have Jaime and Bran tied together on the back of a horse, which of course is extremely ironic, since she's been dragging him around the countryside for a long time now. And of course Brienne is taunting Jaime, which is hilarious and all, and then Jaime's telling her how she's going to be raped, and of course Brienne's like kind of not showing fear, but you know, like deep down she's afraid, and Jaime's saying not to resist because she'll just end up getting harmed, like hurt way more, and it's just really sad because you're like, oh Brienne, you're just such this like amazing woman, and like freaking these men are pigs. Oddly enough, Jaime has a point, and it actually kind of seems like he cares about Brienne in a way, which is kind of interesting. I really would have can't wait to see how their relationship is during the books. Then we skip to Arya, and Gendry's helping Taurus, and of course Arya is not pleased at all. She's like, what the hell are you doing, Gendry? And then they're bringing the Hound into a wagon, and they smash his head off the wagon, and it's, oh my god, I think that's hilarious. And then the innkeeper ends up keeping hot pie, because I guess she really likes his bread or something, so it's kind of sad because they're like a little trio and they're getting separated, and you can tell Arya's definitely not pleased. So it's really cute, they're saying goodbye, and hot pie gives her a bread shaped in the shape of a dire wolf, and at first she's like, what the hell is this? It's cute though, because they're gonna miss each other, and then he tells Gendry, don't get stabbed, and Gendry's just like, don't burn your fingers. And goodbyes. Great stuff. So we skip to Catelyn, and she's talking to this guy named Blackfish, who is apparently her uncle, and they're just talking about how when she was young and her father would go off to war, that she would always sit in this window and she would wait for him to come back, and she feels really bad because she feels like that's what Bran and Rickon felt like. They felt like her when she was young, and then she never came back, and she thinks they're dead, but they assure her that like Rob is he's really sure that they're not, which is, they're not, obviously, like we know that, but they don't know that. We skip to Rob's wife, who's like kind of tending to Martin Lannister. I'm wondering how the hell they got a hold of him, but I don't know, guess we'll see. Then we skip to the wildlings, and they go to this weird shaped dead horse thing, and it's like, what the hell happened here? Why is it in a shape? And then they ask the dude who's the warg, they ask him, like, I thought there were crows here, and he was like, there were. So, you know, they're all White Walkers now, and it's like, holy crap, that's a lot of White Walkers. And of course, the leader guy there, he tells, ginger bearded guy, whose name I keep forgetting, they tell him to go scale the wall, because that's an easy feat. Just go scale it. Have fun. And of course, he's like, I'll bring John with ya. This is gonna go well. And of course, they say he isn't useful to kick John off the wall, basically. Then the crows are returning to this creepy little village again, where the dude, like, basically rapes all his own children and makes them have children. Sketchy as fuck. So later they're sitting around the fire and they hear this wailing. Obviously someone's giving birth and sounds super painful, and the guy is such a dick. He's like, he just tells the woman who comes to him to go tell her to basically clam up, or he's gonna clam her up with his fists. Like, freaking go to hell. I really hope someone kills him at some point. Like, please. And of course Sam wanders outside and he sees the birth there, and then it's a boy, and it's really sad because they know they're gonna take it out to the woods to, like, feed it to the White Walk. Like, what is happening? It's really sad. Oh look, we're back to Theon. So the guy comes and releases him, gives him water, and freaking poor Theon can, like, not even stand. And he's like, well, if you can't stand, you can't, like, if you can't ride, then you're fucked and you're staying here. And then of course the dude, like, Theon's like, no, like, I'm freaking out of here, I don't care what I gotta do, and of course they walk out, and it's fine, they get out of there, it's good. Then we skip to Stannis and Melisandre, my least favorite people in this entire show. Melisandre is leaving to go somewhere on some freaking god quest or something, and then Stannis is all upset because he thinks she's abandoning him, and she's like, you're the chosen one, I'm not abandoning you. Stop being a whiny little prick. And it's just like, Stannis, you have stopped. Like, you've really fallen down a hole here. Then Stannis is talking about how he wants them all dead for laughing at him and blah blah blah. And then he's saying how he wants another son, and he's like, kind of like, take me now. And she's like, that's not how it works, Stannis. And he's like, but why? And it's like, you're getting a little creepy there, Stannis. Like, what has happened to you? And Melisandre basically says, your fire runs low, whatever the fuck that means. And then the Lord of Light is demanding sacrifices. I'm wondering who they're gonna sacrifice here. Hopefully no one we know and love. And then we skip to Dany! Oh, my favorite! And Dany is on the Walk of Punishment, as per the episode is called. So then we find out why it's called that. So there's all these dudes all, like, basically crucified along the side there, and they're all gashed to shit and terrible, and she goes to give a guy water, and he's like, no. Like, the dude on the crucifix just says, let me die, and I guess if you were, like, friggin' strung up and beaten friggin' half to death, you just want to die too. Now they're talking about how Dany wants to see the blood of the enemies, not the blood of innocents, and then of course they're saying basically how there is going to be blood of innocents on your hands no matter what, and like Jorah's trying to get Barristan to agree with him, and Dany's just not pleased with that. And then they're talking about the Unsullied again, which is, of course, are the soldiers that Dany is thinking of buying here. And they're saying how the Unsullied are basically like slaves, like they won't do anything you don't tell them to. They won't rape or pillage or whatever. They'll only do what you tell them to. So Jorah's trying to sell her on the Unsullied still, and friggin' that sounds like a pretty good deal to me. Like, they sound like pretty sweet soldiers, except for the fact that they're slaves. So then they go to talk to the dude there in charge, and she's saying how she wants to buy them all, and the ones in training. And then the dude's just laughing that off. He's like, seriously, like, how are you going to afford that? Your boat is worth like 100, and like, with the gold you can get like 10, and but he's like, oh, since I'm generous, I'm gonna give you such and such. And then, of course, Dany does the most ridiculous thing ever, and she's like, I will give you 1 dragon in exchange for all of the stuff I want. And then the audience is like, what are you doing, Daenerys. Like, I get why she's doing it, because she doesn't have any other form of currency, but Dany, they are your babies. Like, you only have 3 of them, and you're gonna give one, not to mention you want the biggest one. This is just a terrible idea, unless you have some plan of breaking it out after you get the army, which would be awesome, and you better have that plan, because you're not giving up one of your babies, especially you're going to give up my favorite one, the one who was fishing earlier. So then the dude accepts, and blah blah, and Dany gets the servant girl, who's the translator too. And then she was saying to Jorah and Barristan, like, don't you dare question me in front of strangers and stuff, and freaking they should be questioning you, Dany. This was a terrible decision. I don't know if it was a terrible decision yet, but it seems like it right now. You're gonna, like, they're right, you're gonna win this war with giant dragons who can light the cities on fire. Like, 8,000 soldiers? Like, that's not gonna be enough to take over King's Landing. And then we have this interesting little bit where they mention Valar Morghulis again, and then Dany is like, yes, all men must die, but we aren't men. And then you're just like, oh, yay, women power or something, and stop making so many bad decisions. Now we're back to King's Landing with Tyrion, and they're with Littlefinger, and he's getting, like, the records for his new job and stuff, which, of course, he finds out after that freaking Littlefinger's been, like, not cooking the books, but he's been borrowing a lot of money. And they're talking about how Littlefinger is going off to the Eyrie, and blah blah blah, and Cersei's and robes, and all that stuff that already happened. They're just talking about it. Then there's this funny little bit where Tyrion gives Podrick, this dude who saved his life, a bunch of whores instead of, like, knighting him or something. And then he comes back later to Tyrion and Bronn, and they're just like, why do you still have this money? Like, because he throws the money on Tyrion's desk, and he's just like, they gave it back to me. And they're like, why? And he's just like, because they had a great time. They didn't want it. And they're just like, we gonna have a talk about this. So then we're skipping to Theon. He's riding through the forest, or on hills or something, and then these guys appear over the moor, and they are after him, and they race into the forest, and they catch him, and oh my god, it looks like that fall hurt. And then they kind of pin him down, and they're like, I'm gonna fuck you into the dirt, and it's like, whoa, unnecessary. Unnecessary, like, that is scary. And then some awesome guy comes and shoots them all with arrows, and you're like, oh hey, Theon's safe and doesn't get raped. That's great. So then we're back to Brienne and Jaime, and they're at that little, like, place there with the guys who caught them, and they're gonna, like, take Brienne away to rape her. It's so sad. Like, she hits them back after they hit her, and then they just make it worse and hit her more, and she starts screaming, and they take her off into the woods, and they're, like, making all these disgusting comments about her. And then Jaime kinda, I'm not sure if he's making it up or not, or if this is an actual story, he says that she's Selwyn of Tarth's daughter, and who's apparently the biggest importer of sapphires in all of Westeros, which is freaking awesome if it's true. Like, that's pretty sweet. And if she comes back with her honor unbesmirched, then there will be rewards for her, apparently. And then they kind of take Jaime up, and they're tricking him into thinking that he's going to be, like, saved and stuff, and they bring Bran back, and Bran looks so afraid. It's so sad, especially because she's such a strong, powerful woman. And to see someone like that, like, crumpled in fear is just, like, it's just awful. But anyway, with Jaime, they're taking him over to the stump to feed him and pin him to it, and they're just like, all you have to say is my father to get out of every situation, and blah blah blah, and basically you can't get out of this one with all your fancy words and shit. And of course they cut off Jaime's hand to make him remember, and Jaime screams and the episode ends. And then I actually got to see the preview for next week, which is awesome, because now I can at least talk about it for like a couple seconds. So we have Cersei's talking about Olenna, and they're talking about, like, mothers do what they have to do, and she's telling Tywin, her father, that she thinks the Tyrells are going to be a real big problem, so she's definitely not pleased with this whole Lady Marjorie setup for her son, and I'm excited to see what she's going to do here. And then we have Dany giving up her baby. Stupid. And we have the Hound telling them to basically kill him already and stop with all this madness, and it's like, poor Hound. I like you. Please don't kill him. And a few other things happen, but they're not really that important. So this video is definitely longer than 15 minutes, and I'm really sorry, but I'm definitely going to have to cut it down. But thank you for watching so much. I really appreciate all you new subscribers, everyone who even leaves a comment on this video. Like, I love you guys. Thank you for liking it, subscribing, everything. I seriously appreciate it. So thanks for watching, and see you guys next week.